श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवाननी जय, अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराजनी जय, गुणातीतानंद स्वामी महाराजनी जय, भगत जी महाराजनी जय, शास्त्री जी महाराजनी जय, योगी जी महाराजनी जय, प्रमुख स्वामी महाराजनी जय, महंत स्वामी महाराजनी जय, प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज शताब्दी महोत्सवनी जय, अक्षरधाम महोत्सवनी जय. In a remote part of the Andes mountain range, once one of the highland tribes decided to attack one of the lowland tribes. As they attacked them, the lowland tribe managed to fight them off, but the highland tribe did manage to kidnap a small baby. After this child was kidnapped, the lowland tribe decided to go get the baby back. So what they done was they sent their strongest, fittest, bravest men to try and go get this child back. As the men set out on their journey though, every time they came to a certain spot and they tried to climb it, they could not. As the lowland tribe was not used to climbing high mountains or high terrains. So again, they changed their route, they go somewhere else and they try to climb the mountain again. But again, they would fail. This continued for about 6 to 7 days. And afterwards, on the 8th day, they'd given up and they decided to walk back to the lowland tribe. Now, on the way back to their tribe, in the distance, they saw a figure. And as that figure got closer, they realized it was the mother of the baby. And as the mother got closer and closer, they saw in the mother's hands, she had her daughter. So stunned, they ran up to the mother and they didn't know what to say. So the only thing that came out of their mouths was the word, how? And the mother replied with one sentence, it wasn't your daughter. So in this example, in this story, we see that if a person has Dradh Priti for something, strong love, affection for something, then anything is possible. Similarly, for us, if we have Dradh Priti for the Satpurush, it doesn't matter how hard or how high or how far or whatever the obstacle is, we will be able to overcome that obstacle and attain Akshardham. But what does it mean to have Dradh Priti in the Satpurush? Well, today we're going to be looking at three things. Three things that can help us develop our Dradh Priti towards the Satpurush. The first way in which we can develop Dradh Priti for the Satpurush is by following his Agna. In Vachanamrit, Karyani 11, Shriji Maharaj says, he who has affection for his beloved God will never disobey the wishes of his beloved. That is the characteristic of affection. Further on in the Vachanamrit, Maharaj says, the characteristic of affection is exactly this. One who has true affection for a person acts according to the person's wishes. We also see this in the Satpurush's life. Once, Mahan Swami Maharaj, he was with Yogi Bapa in Gondal. Now at that time, a Hari Bhakta by the name of Bhailu Bhai, he had brought a tractor, or like a truck, to be made prasadi. He brought the truck and Yogi Bapa made it prasadi. And the truck was such that it wasn't one of those nice trucks, but it was one of those trucks that you fill garbage in or you transport things in. So it was decided that since the truck has come, let's clean up Gondal Mandir. And we can throw all of the garbage in the truck and then go and empty the truck somewhere. So as this was decided, Yogi Bapa remembered, he goes, Mahan Swami kya che? So someone told Yogi Bapa, ke Bapa, Mahan Swami has a fever. So Yogi Bapa said, ke go and call him for this seva, he will feel better. And as soon as someone went to call Mahan Swami and tell him, ke Yogi Bapa is calling you for seva, Mahan Swami Maharaj went immediately. And even with a fever of 103 degrees, Mahan Swami Maharaj done this seva of cleaning up Gondal Mandir campus for 2 hours. And then remembering that prasang, Mahan Swami Maharaj says that my fever did not go away, but I cannot forget the seva that we did. So we see in this prasang, look at Mahan Swami Maharaj's love for his Guru Yogiji Maharaj. Mahan Swami Maharaj, remembering the prasang, he didn't complain or he didn't mention the fever that he had and the type of seva he done in the fever. He didn't say anything like that. The only thing Mahan Swami Maharaj remembered was how fortunate enough he was to be given this agna and to be able to do this seva. So this is Dradh Priti for the Satpurush, to follow his agna. It doesn't matter what our body tells us, what our mind tells us, but as soon as we get given an agna by the Satpurush, to follow that agna, that is Dradh Priti. Now, how can we, or how do we know if we have Dradh Priti for the Satpurush? The easiest way to tell is look at what he's told us to do and then see if we are following those things in our life. So in 1996, Pramukh Sai Maharaj, he was going to come to the United States, and at that time there was an adhivation held in Catskills. Now, for this adhivation, Pramukh Swami Maharaj was requested, Bapa, please write your expectations for Kishores. So in that, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, in English, he wrote 6 things for all of us. And those 6 things were, number 1, Pramukh Swami Maharaj wrote, do daily puja. Number 2, Pramukh Sai Maharaj wrote, attend Sabha regularly. Number 3, Pramukh Sai Maharaj wrote, respect your parents. Number 4, avoid bad books, company, TV. Number 5, study hard. And number 6, read Satsang books daily. Now, if we take these 6 things and we do our own antadrashti, we can see in our lives how much Dradh Priti we have for the Satpurush. How well are we doing all 6 of these things? And how well are we following all 6 of these agnas that Pramukh Swami Maharaj gave to us?
ये कैसे उभा था હવે શ્રીજી કહે છે બેસી જાઓ ઊંચા હાથ કરો આઉટ ઓલ આઉટ ઓલ આઉટ થઈ ગયા હવે ઊંચા હાથ કરવાનું કઈ શ્રીજીએ કહ્યું હતું શ્રીજી શબ્દ નતો એમને હતું એટલે શ્રીજી આપણે બોલે એ જ કરવાની વાત છે એટલે આમાં આપણે ભૂલા પડી જઈએ છીએ કાંઈ ક્યાં શ્રીજી કહેવાયા છે દુકાને ગયા હોય પાર્ટીમાં ગયા હોય ત્યાં બેસતા એમ થઈ જાય કે ના થાય પણ ત્યાં પણ આપણે રહેવું જોઈએ કે ભાઈ ભગવાનમાં આની આજ્ઞા છે ભગવાનની આમાં રુચિ છે કોઈ પણ કાર્ય કરતા પહેલાં આપણે એક વિચાર આ કરવાનો કારણ આપણે આવું થઈ જાય શ્રીજી કહ્યું નથી ઊંચા હાથ કરે એટલે મન ધાર્યું મૂકી દેવાનું.
The second way in which we can develop our Dradh Priti for the Satpurush is by doing his smruti. In Vachanamrit, Gadra section 1, number 44, Shriji Maharaj says, affection is constantly remembering God's form. A devotee with such total affection for God never has any thoughts other than those of God. The extent to which he harbors desires other than those of God is the extent to which he lacks in his affection. So in this Vachanamrit, we can see that Shriji Maharaj is telling us, however much smruti we do of the Satpurush, that's how much Dradh Priti we have for him. And we see this in the lives of our Guru. In Gondal, on the 23rd of October 2019, Mahan Swami Maharaj was having his lunch. At that time, Pujya Gnanpriya Swami reminded Mahan Swami Maharaj of a prasang that happened in the small village of Bilimora. Now, Gnanpriya Swami reminded Mahan Swami Maharaj of how Yogi Bapa had given Pramukh Sai Maharaj and Mahan Sai Maharaj 5 laddus that day. As soon as Gnanpriya Swami reminded Mahan Sai Maharaj of this, Swami immediately started doing smruti of the prasang. And that smruti, even though the prasang had happened in 1966, 53 years later, that smruti for Swami was still as fresh as if it had happened only 53 seconds ago. Swami Shri remembered instantly that the laddus were made 10% out of Jananolot. And then Swami said that they weren't completely round. They were slightly diamond-shaped. And Yogi Bapa had given 5 each to both of us. So we see in this way, Mahan Swami Maharaj, he does smruti of Yogi Bapa. Even though Mahan Swami Maharaj has had so much labh of Yogi Bapa, he remembers even the small incident of Yogi Bapa giving him 5 laddus. Another prasang happened when Mahan Swami Maharaj was in Gandhinagar. On the 8th of August 2019, Mahan Swami Maharaj was performing his morning puja. After performing his puja, Swami Shri requested for the mic. Asking for the mic, Swami Shri then told a prasang. Swami Shri said that they were once with Yogi Bapa in Kampala. And at that time, in Yogi Bapa's presence, a Hari Bhakta by the name of Mohan Bhai Rathod had gone to Akshardham. So Yogi Bapa had then gone to Mohan Bhai's final funeral rites. After performing the final rites, Yogi Bapa came back to his uttaro, and Yogi Bapa mentioned that Bhakti Karta Mohan Bhai Pran Chodi Dido. Just after saying this much, Mahan Swami Maharaj put the mic down. So everyone wondered, okay, why did Mahan Swami Maharaj tell this prasang out of nowhere, just randomly? Then Puja Narayan Muni Swami realized that during Bapa's puja, someone had sung the bhajan, Bhakti Karta Chute Maro Pran. So immediately hearing this kirtan, Mahan Swami Maharaj remembered a smruti he had had with Yogi Ji Maharaj. So we can see that Mahan Swami Maharaj's Dradh Priti for his Guru is such that even after hearing just one kirtan, he can immediately remember a prasang or a smruti that he has had with his Guru. So how do we apply this to our lives? Well, it's simple, by doing smruti of our Guru. Any prasang we were present for, any labh we may have received, any darshan we may have done, do smruti of that. In our sabhas, in our goshtis, we always talk about triggers. Like for Mahan Swami Maharaj, a laddu was a trigger. Or for Mahan Swami Maharaj, the kirtan line was a trigger. Similarly, have triggers in your own life that remind you of smrutis, of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, of Mahan Swami Maharaj. And also, we do realize that some people may not have been in satsang their whole lives. They may have come into satsang after 2017, when Mahan Swami Maharaj visited North America. So, what do you do then? Well, there is no law or no niyam or no rule which says you cannot watch a Guru Hari Darshan or you cannot watch a video on the internet and make that smruti yours. That's all you have to do. Go online, watch videos of Mahan Swami Maharaj, of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and make those smrutis yours. There are so many amazing smrutis that they've given us. There are so many amazing leelas that they have done. And we can watch those leelas and make them ours. Here are a few examples of these prasangs or these smrutis or these leelas that they've given us that we can then remember and do smruti on and increase our Dradh Priti for our Guru.
The યોગી પ્રમુખ સ્વામી મહારાજ સર્વોપરી ભગવાનના સર્વોપરી સંત હતા. કેવો ડંકો વગાડ્યો અને દરેકને સ્મૃતિ એમની થાય છે. કંઈક પ્રસંગો ઊભા થયા છે અને બાપાનો એક તમને યાદ આવે છે. એનું કારણ છે. સંતો તો બધા ઘણા હોય, પણ સ્વામી બાપાએ જે ભગવાન સાથે અખંડ તાર જોડ્યો હતો એવું આ ભાગ્ય બને. બીજા ભજન ભક્તિ, એકાંતિક ભક્તિ કરે, સેવા કરે, ભક્તિ, પણ ભગવાન સાથે એક તાર રહેવું, હંમેશા અખંડ એમનામય એ જ પોતે થઈ ગયા હોય એવી રીતે આપણે બાપાએ સુખ આપ્યું છે અને દરેકને સ્મૃતિ રહી છે. અને સ્મૃતિ આપણને ગૂંથતા રહેવું, યાદ કરતા રહેવું. આ બધું એક જ છે. મહારાજથી લઈને બધા સદગુરુ સંતો, ગુણાતીત ગુરુઓ, એ બધી એમની સ્મૃતિ આપણે રાખવાની. બીજું બધું તો ઠીક, પણ આવા પ્રસંગો જે હોય આપણે અંતરમાં ઉતારી દેવાનું, કારણ કે એક જ છે બધું. એટલે શાસ્ત્રીજી મહારાજ કહો, યોગી આપા કહો, પ્રમુખ સ્વામી મહારાજ કહો, એ બધા એકના એક છે. એટલે એમની સ્મૃતિ કાયમ રાખવી. અને એમાં આપણે જેટલા પ્રસંગો બન્યા છે એમની સાથે એ યાદ રાખવા. અને કેમ કે એવા સંત છે, એવા સંત, પરમ પવિત્ર સંત, જેને જોટો ના. સ્મૃતિ તો બધી ઘણી બધી છે, ના હોય એવું બને જ નહીં, પણ યાદ કરવું પડે, નહીં તો ભૂલી જાય. સ્વામીએ વાતમાં કહ્યું છે કે મહિમા સમજાય છે અને વળી ભૂલી જવાય છે, માટે 100 વાર ખોટું પછી યાદ રહે. એટલે અને આ જ બીજું બધું જગતનું જે કંઈ હોય બધું ભૂલી જવાનું છે, બધું. અને આ એક જ, અને અનંત જન્મથી બધું જે કર્યું છે એ ભૂલાઈ ગયું છે, ભગવાનની દયા. અને આ જન્મનું બધું ભૂલી ગયું. પણ પ્રમુખ સ્વામી મહારાજ, યોગી આપા, શાસ્ત્રી મહારાજ, એમને જેને જે સ્મૃતિ હોય એ કડેધાર આપણે રાખવી. કેમ કે એ જ બ્રહ્મ સ્વરૂપ છે સ્મૃતિઓ. એટલે આપણે એ રાખવાનું છે. સદાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજની.
Now, the final point, our third point, will help us introspect, help us to antadrashti on how much love, how much Dradh Priti we have for the Satpurush. In Gadra section 2, number 57, Shiji Maharaj says, if a person truly loves God, he would never develop love for anything else. If there is an object that appears to be dearer to him than God, he would completely discard it. So in this Vachanamrut, Maharaj gives us something very, very important to help us with our own introspection. Maharaj has given us something which we can use to introspect how much Dradh Priti do I have for the Satpurush and how much Dradh Priti do I have for other things. Now, doing this type of introspection is not always easy. So we're going to try and help with it today. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to take the 6 agnas that Pramukh Sai Maharaj gave us in Catskills. And then we're going to look at how when following those 6 agnas, there's certain things that get in our way or certain things that we do which show we have more Dradh Priti for other things than we do for the Satpurush. The first agna that Swami gave us was to do puja daily. Now, sometimes in doing our daily pujas, we rush our puja because we're lazy, so we wake up late. Or we wake up late, so instead of skipping breakfast, we skip puja. So this shows us that being lazy or food is dearer to us than the Satpurush. The second Agna Swami Shri gave us was to attend Sabha regularly. Now, sometimes we miss our Sabhas. It might be because our friends ask us to go out with them. It might be because we're watching the football or any other sporting event. Sometimes we attend the Sabha, but we're playing with our phones. We're sending messages, we're looking through things on our phones. So see, all of these things show us that our phones, our friends, sporting events are dearer to us than our Guru. The third thing Swami Shri requested us to do was to respect our parents. Now, sometimes we don't do that. If we want some new type of clothes or some new shoes or something, and sometimes they're too expensive that our parents genuinely can't afford it, or sometimes we don't need it. And if our parents say no or they don't immediately buy it for us, we argue with them. We shout at them. We disrespect them. Now, this is not following his Agna. This is not Dradh Priti for our Guru. The fourth thing Swami Shri gave us was to avoid bad books, company, and TV. Now, what does that mean? Well, avoiding bad company means not doing things that your friends ask you to when you know you're not meant to do it. When you know that Swami Shri doesn't like it, when it's not within our niyams. So following things like that, or breaking our niyams because our friends told us to, or watching things on TV that Swami Shri, you know he doesn't want us to watch or he doesn't like us watching. So doing these things and doing them more than trying to attach ourselves to the Satpurush should give us or should help us to antadrashti on whether we love the Satpurush more or do we love all of these things more. The fifth thing that Swami Shri gave us was to study hard. Now, yes, this might be difficult for all of us, but again, the more we can study, the more it will show how much Dradh Priti we have for our Guru. Pramukh Sai Maharaj would many times encourage Kishores कि आपने first class first लाओ. So, not being lazy in your studies. When exam time comes, trying hard in your exams. And more importantly, a very bad habit in which people have got into is cheating. Cheating is not what our Guru wants us to do. Sometimes we cheat in school. Sometimes when we have to hand in an essay, we cheat. We try and find it off the internet. Or right now, sometimes when we're taking exams at home, we cheat in that. We have another friend on the phone with us, helping us out. So all of these things will show us or help us do introspection about how much Dradh Priti we have for the Satpurush. And the final Agna Swami Shri gave us was to read Satsang books daily. Now again, this is a great indicator, a great way of us doing introspection, because right now, some of us, we're free to play Call of Duty for 6 hours a day. We're free to play Fortnite for 6-7 hours a day. But we're not free to read one Vachanamrit, 5 Swamini Vato, and a prasang about our Gurus. So this really shows us or helps us introspect in how much Dradh Priti we have for our Guru.
કે છેલ્લા સાતની અંદર છેલ્લા સાતનું વચનાથ વાંચ્યું એ લોકોએ એ પણ બહુ સરસ છે વજ્રને ખીલીનું કે આપણું મન હંમેશા ભગવાનમાં રહેવું જોઈએ. ભગવાનના ચરણારને વિશે આપણું મન દ્રઢ કરીને રાખવું, એમાંથી ફેરફાર ના થાય. જો આપણું મન દ્રઢ હોય તો પછી આપણે બહાર ગમે ત્યાં જઈએ આવીએ ફરીએ તો આપણું મન ક્યાંય વિકારને પામે નહીં. એ તો શું થાય, વિકાર પામી જાય. પણ કહ્યું છે દ્રઢ રાખવું. દ્રઢ એટલે કોઈ દિવસ ફેરફાર થાય નહીં. પૃથ્વીની વજ્રની એટલે આ લોખંડની પૃથ્વી ને એની વજ્રની ખીલી લોખંડની, એ બે આમ જળબે સલાક થઈ ગયું, કોઈ નફું પડી શકે નહીં ગમે તે થાય તો પણ. એવી રીતે આપણું મન છે એ પણ ભગવાનના ચરણારવિંદ સિવાય બીજે કંઈ જાય નહીં. એટલે વિષય તરફ ના જાય, વ્યસનો તરફ ન જાય, દુનિયાના માયાવી વસ્તુ તરફ ન જાય, ભગવાનની અંદર જ આપણું મન રહે. એટલે હાલીએ ચાલીએ ગમે ત્યાં જઈએ તો પણ ભગવાનની આપણે આજ્ઞા છે, આદેશો એ આપણી નજર સમક્ષ રહે. એટલા માટે એ વચનાથની અંદર પણ કહ્યું. અને ભગવાનને સંત સદા સુખદાયક છે. એ વચનાથમાં પ્રથમ મારે કહ્યું કે અમારો સિદ્ધાંત છે સમજાવીએ. એટલે મહારાજે પોતાનો સિદ્ધાંત સમજાવ્યો કે સિદ્ધાંત શું છે કે આ જગતની જેને કલ્યાણી છું એને ભગવાન કે સંત એથી કોઈ વસ્તુ સુખદાયક નથી. આ વસ્તુ મહારાજે મૂકી, સિદ્ધાંતની વાત. સિદ્ધાંત એટલે પોતે કહું ભાઈ મારી ખરેખર વાત તને કરું છું, તને સમજાય ના પણ મારી ખરી વાત છે, અંતરની વાત છે, તને કહું છું. એમ જેમ આપણે બહુ દ્રઢતાપૂર્વક કહીએ એમ શ્રીજી મહારાજ પણ આ વચનાત્મા કહે છે આ અમારો સિદ્ધાંત છે. એ સિદ્ધાંત શું છે કે ભગવાન ને ભગવાનના સંત જગતનો સુખદાયક છે, એથી બીજું કોઈ સુખદાયક નથી. અને જેને કલ્યાણી છું, હવે કલ્યાણ માટે જેને એટલે બધાએ દુનિયાના તમામ માણસો આવી જાય કે જેને કલ્યાણી શું છે એને આ વાત દ્રઢ કરવાની છે. ભગવાન ને ભગવાનના સંત એથી કોઈ ઉપરાંત જગતમાં સુખદાયક વસ્તુ નથી. જો આટલું આપણને સમજાય તો પછી બીજી વસ્તુની અંદર મોહ મમતા ના રહે.
In conclusion, we looked at 3 points. Number 1, we saw by however much agna we follow, that shows how much Dradh Priti we have for the Satpurush. Number 2, however much smruti we do, if we were there for the prasang, if we weren't there for the prasang, if it was a prasang we saw online, it's fine. But however much smruti we do of the Satpurush, that shows how much Dradh Priti we have in him. And finally, Shriji Maharaj gave us a way of doing introspection. Shriji Maharaj gave us something so we can see, we can analyze our own lives. How much love do I really have for the Satpurush? And how much love do I have for everything else in this world? And in this way, if we can develop Dradh Priti for the Satpurush, it will help us remain happy here in this life and attain Akshardham.